Amen.
So we have about 5 minutes until Shkia.
Why do you have to say Asahani?
I'll explain it later. Okay. By the way, also interesting halacha with Rabbi Hartman here in the summer at Big Zion. You mentioned that it's not a heftig to turn off your phone. If it's ringing in the middle of Shemon Esrei, you can press the button and quiet it. It shouldn't be an interruption. It's interesting.
Shout it. Yeah. The ring, shout it.
Yeah, you're allowed to. It's not an interruption. Yeah. Okay. So in this week's Parsha, we have very interestingly Parshas Naso. Rashi brings the Gemara in Sota. It says it says Lama Nismacha Parshas Sota to Parshas Nazir. Why is the Parsha of the Sota the one who's suspected without proof of impropriety? Why is that right next to the Parsha of the Nazir, the Nazarite, someone that takes on certain vows? So the Gemara says, and Rashi brings it down, Mishirah, the Sota B'Kukulusa, whoever sees the Sota in her state of damaged state, Yadar Asma Min Yayin, he's going to separate himself, he's going to take a vow to separate from wine, because drunkenness can lead to looseness and propriety. And it's very interesting, we see in this world today, a lot of people ask, in the Orthodox world, why is there this right turn that seems the Orthodox world, so much of the Orthodox world is taken away from how it was all the years people who grew up in the Orthodox Jewish world. They've seen that things have changed in the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. They've gotten very different than how they were within the modern Orthodox world, within the Yeshivish world, within the Chassidish world, all the world. In the general, not universally, but generally there's a right-wing turn. And interesting, it reminds me of this same idea. A friend of mine, he grew up in Far Rockaway. His parents were Bali Tshuva. And he said, and in their house they didn't have a television. And he said, how come you grew up with a TV? How come I can't have it? What's wrong with it? And his parents said, if it was when I was a kid, there was a Leave It to Beaver and the Lone Ranger. If that was on today, I'd let you watch it. But now the garbage is on TV now. I can't let you watch it. They say, those who might know old comedians, Laurel and Hardy. And Oliver Hardy used to play with his tie. Where did that come from? In one of the first movies that he did, before Hardy met with Laurel, they were separate comedians doing silent movies. And he played a sailor who was swabbing the deck, and he thought it would be funny if he'd blow his nose in the tie. That would be a funny joke. But then he realized, back then they didn't like to take more than one take. There wasn't that much film. It was just invented. It was very expensive. They couldn't take a lot of takes. And maybe the censors would think that would be too disgusting. He couldn't have it on the film, and the censors would make it take out. It would be a waste of film. So he decided he was going to play with his tie, and that became his trademark. Similarly, and maybe 30 years later, with the show I Love Lucy, they couldn't use the word pregnant. It was considered to be vulgar to mention the word pregnant. Let's say expecting, whatever, they had to use a lashon Nakia, and Nakia is a lashon. And nowadays, the Pruskite, the vulgarity that is, it's gone beyond anything. And so it's a similar idea. Basically, that's the answer.
That's very nicely put, but that's not the reason.
But just wait a second. Whoever sees the secular world has gone so far in the opposite direction. There's so much corruption. Like it says in Parshas Noach. All the world is so much corruption that many people, they choose. It's not that it's a chiyuv. It's not a sin necessarily to watch a clean show on TV. But some people, they make this choice. They have to separate themselves, because otherwise, so it has to be both ways. It's like a nazir. The people who decide to be nazirim like that shouldn't look down on those who have a different way. And also the same way, the people who want to be more modern, they shouldn't look down on those who want to go more to the right. We have to love each other. It has to be a Havas Yisrael one to another. But that's how I feel. That's what it's about, really. Is that it's Misharos starts with the Kakus, and also in the other way. That if someone decides that's the type of lifestyle they're living, they have to realize they're dealing with wine. Wine, you have too much wine, you can get drunk. But a little bit of wine is kiddush. If you enjoy something good and it's clean, don't waste that time. If that's your lifestyle, it's not for everybody. It's not, but if that's your lifestyle, then be makadosh. Say thank you to Kadosh Baruch Hu that I enjoyed that little bit of pleasure. I heard a nice joke or a good song that made me feel good. Kadosh Baruch Hu created the whole world and everything that came together to form that. I have to give Shevach V'Heidah to Kadosh Baruch Hu for that. But too much, it's also dangerous. Everything has to be in the right way. And the mindset, all of these things, supposed to be to the right, to be to the left, to be more modern, to be more creative, whatever it is. The freedom to do that is what we're celebrating today. What we're memorializing today, this Memorial Day. And people gave their lives. They made the ultimate sacrifice that we can live here in a country that has the level of freedom of religion and the level of freedom of individual that anyone can decide to be whatever they want. And hopefully we can give a schus to their neshamas by living the right way. Whatever that right way is for us, it should be a Torah way. It should be Alpi Torah. If you want to be a Nazir, it's very good. In the time of Chazal, it says there were thousands of doves and pigeons that were being brought in the Beis Hamikdash because they saw at the time of the second Beis Hamikdash what kind of corruption there was that people decided to go and be Nazirim. There was a force like that, but the same way, if that's not your derech, make sure it's a Torah-dik way. And either way, whatever it is, we have to love each other and appreciate that freedom. After that, what comes after the Parshas of Nazir? Is the Parsha of the Birkas Kahanim, that we have blessings of Yivrecha, Hashem Yishmerecha, Yer Hashem Pona Velecha V'Chunaka Yisra, Hashem Pona Velecha V'Yisem Lecha Shalom, the blessings of peace, the peace that will bring that, like we read last week in Parshas Kolakowski 2 weeks ago. If you keep the Torah, Telechu V'Nasati Shalom Ba'ari, it's the way to get peace, which brings blessings, and blessings bring peace. One brings the other. The last Mishnah Nuxim said that Ein Kadosh Baruch Hu Kadosh Baruch Hu Mitzvah Kli Matzik Baruch Hu Yisrael Shalom Shem Hashem Oizlam Yiting Hashem Yivarech Tzavei Shalom. That through the blessing is to give peace, and through peace comes the blessing, and it all comes through the Torah. Whatever path it shouldn't come with Torah, we all have our own way. Whatever path it is should be a path that gives us all peace, and we should have peace of mind and happiness and prosperity.
As long as it's Abbas Israel, and this is